What happens when an unstoppable force meets another unstoppable force? In the world of Dragon Ball Z, we thought we knew the answer. One hero pushed to his absolute limit, breaks through, and saves the day. But what if the enemy couldn't be broken? What if it could learn, adapt, and regenerate instantly? And what if it took not one, but two rival Super Saiyans fighting together for the very first time, just to stand a chance? Today, we're deconstructing one of the most iconic and influential battles in Dragon Ball history, the legendary first team up of Goku and Vegeta against the terrifying Menace. Our story begins not on Earth but on New Namek, a peaceful sanctuary for a people who had already lost their home to the tyrant Frieza, but the peace is shattered by the arrival of the Big Getty star. This isn't just a ship, it's a parasitic, planet-sized machine that latches on to New Namek, its metallic tentacles draining the world of its life force. On Earth, Dende, now the Guardian, feels the suffering of his people and sends out a desperate call to Goku and the Z Fighters. Right away, the tone is different. This isn't just another martial artist seeking dominance, it's an existential threat, something straight out of a sci-fi horror. The Namekians aren't just being defeated, they're being harvested like a resource, and the mind behind this technological terror, a familiar face we all thought was long gone. That's right, it's Cooler, Frieza's older brother, who Goku had supposedly vaporized into the sun. So, how is he back? The movie gives us a chillingly plausible explanation. His organic remains, his brain and consciousness drifted through space until they were assimilated by a sentient computer chip that had evolved into the Big Getty star. Through this fusion, Cooler was reborn. He's no longer just a person. His mind now controls a planet-sized self-perfecting weapon. He is the ghost in the machine. This is a huge shift for the franchise. Villains up to this point were defined by their personal power, but Meta Cooler is different. He's a biological hybrid, a living metal entity driven by a singular desire for revenge, and he has an army of perfect copies of himself at his disposal. When Goku arrives on New Namek, he is confronted by one of these drones, a gleaming, chrome-plated construct known as Meta Cooler. And this new form is terrifyingly overpowered. It has nanomachine regeneration, allowing it to repair any damage, even regrow entire limbs in seconds. But it gets worse. The system learns from its mistakes. Every time a part is damaged and repaired, its weak points are reinforced, meaning the same attack won't work twice. And to top it all off, in a move that completely neutralizes one of Goku's signature techniques, Meta Cooler reveals he can also use instant transmission. Even as a Super Saiyan, Goku is completely overwhelmed. He can't outpunch an enemy that instantly heals and gets stronger. He can't outmaneuver an enemy that can teleport. For the first time in a long time, Goku is facing an opponent he simply cannot beat alone. The narrative systematically proves that individual strength, the very foundation of Dragon Ball Z, is not enough. And that's when the movie delivers one of the most iconic entrances in Dragon Ball history. In his first ever appearance in a DBZ film, the Prince of All Saiyans, Vegeta, arrives. For fans watching in 1992, this was absolutely electrifying moment. Now, his motivation for showing up is a fascinating look into his character, and it's almost where we see a major difference between the original Japanese version and the English dub that many of us grew up with. In the English dub, when Meta Cooler says a second Super Saiyan, Vegeta's response is a classic boast, second in order perhaps, but by no means in stature. Your fight is with me now. This frames his arrival as a simple declaration that he's the strongest, but the original Japanese dialogue is far more revealing. Cooler asks, "There are two Super Saiyans?" And Vegeta retort is aimed directly at his rival. "Don't take it the wrong way, Kakarot. I did not come here to save you. I will be the one to defeat you, you're all." This isn't just arrogance, it's the core of his entire motivation. He has to be the one to eventually defeat Goku, which means he can't let anyone else, especially Frieza's brother, steal that opportunity from him. It's a subtle but crucial distinction that defines their complex rivalry. What do you guys think? Which version of Vegeta's line do you prefer? The straightforward boast or the honor-bound rivalry? Let me know down in the comments. Of course, Vegeta's pride writes a check his body can't catch. He rushes in and completely gets dismantled, humbled, and beaten. The two proud Saiyan rivals are left with no other choice. For the first time ever in any animation of the Dragon Ball story, they are forced to fight side by side as Super Saiyans. Their initial attacks are useless, a single powerful blow. The standard Saiyan strategy means nothing to an enemy that just regenerates. This forces them to adapt. They can't win with one big punch. They have to win with 1,000. Their new strategy is continuous, overwhelming assault designed to push metal coolers' repair systems past their breaking point. What follows is a masterclass in tandem combat. They coordinate their strikes, attacking from multiple angles at once, but their old rivalry is still there. In one of the fight's most memorable moments, Vegeta charges a Big Bang attack while Goku is physically restraining Cooler, showing a complete disregard for his partner's safety. This isn't a friendship, it's a desperate alliance of convenience. Pushed to their limits, they unleash one final furious barrage of ki blasts and physical strikes, finally overwhelming Cooler's systems and shattering his metal body to pieces. They did it, they won, but their victory is short-lived, leading to one of the most terrifying plot twists in any DBZ movie. This is the reveal of Metal Cooler corpse, and it is a pure nightmare fuel. One fan perfectly describes the scene as looking like round 200 of COD Zombies, and that captures the absolute hopelessness of the situation. This moment is brilliant because it completely subverts the logic of Dragon Ball Z. The entire franchise is built on the idea that if you're strong enough, you can beat any number of weaker foes. But what happens when the enemy isn't weaker? What happens when the enemy is just as strong as you and there are thousands of them? The enemy isn't just powerful, it's effectively infinite. No power-up, no transformation can logically defeat an endless supply of opponents who are each a match for two Super Saiyans. The conflict shifts from a shonen action flick to a desperate survival horror movie. In a moment of pure defiant Saiyan pride, Goku and Vegeta power up for one last round. It's one of the most iconic shots in the entire franchise. They charge forward, and the film cleverly cuts away. We don't see the fight. We don't need to. The next time we see them, they're captured, wired in the core of the Big Getty Star, their energy being siphoned away. This abrupt transition perfectly emphasizes the absolute futility of their situation. Brute force has failed. Inside the machine, they come face to face with the true Cooler, a disembodied head and brain merged with the star's core. As the machine drains their Super Saiyan energy to use as fuel, Cooler makes his fatal mistake. He gloats, marveling at the sheer volume of their power, and says, "Any more and it would have begun to exceed even my capacity." And that's the key. The Big Getty Star is a perfect logical machine, but Saiyan power isn't logical. It's boundless. Pushed to the absolute limits, Goku and Vegeta do the only thing they can. They give him more. They unleash a massive, uncontrolled torrent of energy that overloads the system, causing it to short-circuit and self-destruct. Now, some critics have called this a convenient ass-pull ending, but it's thematically perfect. The Saiyans' defining trait, their limitless and almost irrational potential, becomes the one variable that the finite logical computer system cannot handle. Their spirit literally breaks the machine. As the core collapses, a giant version of Metal Cooler emerges for one last attack. Goku fires a ki blast that destroys the colossal body, but the true victory is secured by Vegeta. In a small but critical moment that many people miss, Vegeta locates the original computer chip containing Cooler's consciousness, grabs it, and crushes it in his hands, permanently ending the threat. This climax is the perfect blueprint for their future dynamic. Goku is the Sledgehammer, providing the overwhelming power to create an opening. Vegeta is the Scalpel, delivering the ruthless tactical finishing blow. It's a partnership we see again and again, for their fight against Kid Buu to their battles in Dragon Ball Super. Despite its iconic moments, The Return of Metal Cooler is a divisive film. It's often praised for its sci-fi aesthetic and incredible action, but it's also criticized for having moments of inconsistent and sometimes terrible animation. The plot is thin, and it's recycled a villain from the previous movie. And yet, it remains a massive fan favorite, frequently ranked among the best of the original 13 DBZ movies. Why? Because it delivered on what fans wanted most: Vegeta's movie debut, an unstoppable villain, and the electrifying first ever team up between Goku and Vegeta. The film was a huge commercial success, proving that for a DBZ movie, the iconic moment was more important than a perfectly coherent story. It set the precedent for decades of team-ups to come. From Fusion Reborn to Dragon Ball Super Broly, it was the prototype, the first ever time we saw these two bitter rivals put aside their pride and fight for a common cause. And for that reason, the battle against Meta Cooler will forever remain a legendary and unstoppable moment in anime history. If you enjoyed this deep dive into one of Dragon Ball's most iconic, epic fights, make sure to hit that like button, subscribe for more breakdowns, and ring that bell so you don't miss the next video. What's your favorite Goku and Vegeta team up? Let me know down in the comments below. Until next time, Sigma 2 out. Peace.